Hi, this is Mrs. Hall, and today I'm going to show you how to add the Sharpie and the color to your project, as well as what the color requirements are to finishing your project, and maybe some of the principles of design that you need to think about as you are working on it. So it says on number 7, show blending of two colors in at least 3 different areas. So I'm going to show you how to do that as soon as we get done with the Sharpie. So first of all, in order to do Sharpie, you need to check with the teacher. And the reason you need to check with the teacher is because once you have the Sharpie done, I cannot fix it. I cannot erase Sharpie. And if you forgot one of the requirements, or you could have improved something to improve your grade, you're going to want to do that. So for this project, I'm going to use the fine point Sharpie, which is not the little tiny one. This is kind of the bigger Sharpie. And the reason is because you want this to have a very bold outline. Now, if you have a really tiny spot in your project that you need to use an extra fine Sharpie for, that is totally fine. But the majority of your project should be in the regular fine point Sharpie, which is not the small one. It's a little deceiving, the word fine on that Sharpie, but there's extra fine and there's a fine point, and then there's like the giant one, but I did not put that on your list. Okay, so let's say I have everything Sharpied and it looks fantastic. What I would do is I would take, if you have a big pink pearl eraser, I would take your pink pearl eraser and erase anywhere that maybe you got outside of the line. So a lot of people, when they're doing this, they're like, oh my gosh, this is ruined. I got outside of the line. No, it's not. Just erase wherever you messed up and move on and you'll be fine. All right, so pretend I had that all outlined, and you want to outline the tag outline if you did that, or if you did the background, you can also outline the background if you need to. Some people may not want to outline the background because it may cause it to stick out too much and then take away from your words. Because remember, the focus of your artwork should be the letters. Even if the background is really cool, that's not the focus of this artwork. All right, so let's talk specifically about the color requirements. So it said I need to blend 2 colors in 3 different areas. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do that, and then you can go pick your own colors. So typically, when we're talking about colors, the ones that blend the best are the ones that are next to each other on the color wheel. So for example, yellow and orange, I know there's an intermediate color here, but you don't have to use those. Yellow and orange are next to each other on the color wheel. These are going to blend together. Yellow and yellow-orange are going to blend even easier because they are closer together on the color wheel. Same thing with, like, let's say violet and blue-violet. Those are going to blend very well because they're close together. Violet and blue, which is purple and blue, those will blend, but they're a little bit further, so it would be harder to blend them than it would violet and blue-violet. All right, we call those colors that are next to each other on the color wheel analogous colors. I want you to make sure that the colors that you blend are close to each other on the color wheel. If you decide to blend, let's say red and green or red and yellow, that's going to be a lot harder to do than if you do, let's say, purple and blue. So I'm going to take purple and blue, and I'm going to find a spot to blend them. There's 2 different ways you can do it, so I'm going to show you both. The first thing I could do is I could take one color and lightly color it, because in order to blend colored pencils, you need to make sure that you're not pressing down too hard. If you press down too hard with a colored pencil, you are not going to be able to get that second color to evenly blend. You can always add more layers almost like a cake, but you cannot take it away once you add it. So here's my blue. I'm going to take my purple and I'm going to go in the opposite direction. So if I went the other way diagonal, I'm going to go this way. And when I grade this, I have to see evidence that you understand how to blend. So let's say I did this process with the blue and the purple, and it's hard to see on the projector, but it is blue and purple mixed. Let's say I evenly did this throughout the whole R. Okay, that would count as 1 color blend. Then let's say I want to do, all my letters the same color. You don't have to do that, but you can if you want. Let's say I go to the T and I color this little section here of the T. I got the blue done, and then I blend it here. That counts as one section because it's separate. So even though it's small, that doesn't matter. That counts as my second section. I could do a third section right here. Let's say that's what I wanted to do. And now I have 3 blended areas with 2 colors. So now once I have those requirements, I can just go ahead and color. I don't have to color it any certain way. There's another way that you can do the blending if you like to. What I could have done is I could have started on the letter and I could have chose one side to shade dark and then fade it to light. So I have the purple and I'm going around the R and I'm shading dark to light in the middle. And then I'm going to take the other color. Let's say that's the purple. I'm going to take the blue and I'm going to shade dark on the outside and mix the blue in with the purple at the center. Now, this is another way you could do it if you like this effect. The key though here is you're not just taking the 2 colors and putting them right next to each other. I have to see evidence of blending. If I don't see these colors mixed in the middle, I'm going to take off points because you're not demonstrating to me that you see and know how to blend. So an example of this is this finished one. This one is not creative. I did this one several years ago, but I kept it because I like to show you the blending. I did dark blue around most of the outsides, and then I did this aqua, and I mixed it in the middle, and that counted as my blended sections, okay? So once I am done with the blending in 3 different areas, I can finish coloring. Now, one thing we need to note is contrast. So for example, if I color all my letters, cool colors. So cool colors meaning purple, blue, green. Then I want them to stick out from the background. So I might put warm colors in the background to contrast. So maybe I choose orange for my background. So I'm going to look for my orange colored pencil here. Of course, it's not super sharpened, but there you go. And then maybe instead of just coloring the background straight orange, I take and I even do some shading. And maybe I go dark around the letters and then I fade it out slowly, almost like a value change. And I fade it out to light. And then that way it looks a little bit more dynamic and not just like plain colored pencil. Because really what you don't want in art is anything boring. I mean, life can be really boring sometimes. So we don't want it to look boring. At the end, you can see this is what mine looked like with the pink, and I shaded dark to light. And I feel like this looks a lot more impressive than if I just did straight colored pencil in the background. It stands out. But notice I picked a color, a cool color for my letters and a warm color for the background, so it stands out a lot. Some people have also done where they make their letters super colorful and then they use black in the background and shade it, or gray, or something a little bit neutral. So just keep in mind as you're coloring it, you don't want to make your letters super colorful, then the background super colorful, and before you know it, you can't tell what is what. All right, if you have additional questions, feel free to contact me.